Hello! As you might have noticed, I have been looking for ways to expand the current content. Today I want to take one of the cards from my packs, this one from Modern Horizons, and do a really deep dive into the card, its meaning, the mechanics, and even some history and philosophy. Let's begin with Ephemerate, which is an instant for white that says exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Then, rebound, if you cast this spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying its mana cost. This card is originally from Modern Horizons, where we got this from. That art is from Bastian L. Deharm, but Ephemerate has been reprinted as a rare for Strixhaven with art from Ravina Kai. First of all, let us look at the name. This gives us a great starting point for understanding the whole card. Ephemerate is a verb of the word ephemera, which means something of no lasting significance. This is interesting as we see a lion, an animal that is the king of the food chain. Still, it has no lasting significance, as any moment it can flicker out of and in existence. Now, do not get pessimistic about life yet. Something that is ephemeral does not really lack significance. The significance of the object might fade, but every significance has a significance of its own. Look for example at the art form called ephemera. This is art that is made but was not meant to last. If someone would make art, then burn it. He has made it, seen it burn, and the artist and perhaps other people observing this short-lived art will be inspired and changed, even though the art itself is now gone. The same is true for our lion, whose life might have had regal impact. This card costs 1 white mana, which to me means that it is not someone trying to hurt this lion. At most, something is trying to protect it, or it might just have been time for this particular big cat. We will come back to the color a lot throughout this video. In the art from Bastian L. Deharm, we see a regal lion. It is ephemeral, meaning that even the king does not have a lasting significance. The art is rightfully sad, with the usual bright clouds in the background being dark and the shadow over the otherwise flat steppe showing us that we are at the end of this lion's time. But it will come back, and it almost seems like this lion knows it when we look deep into the emotion of its face. See this art from Avacyn and Access of Immortality to feel for yourself whether Bastian sometimes has a clear style. Lastly, the flickering from this lion is here represented by vertical stripes of disappearance, making us wonder how this evanescence could happen. Then the art for Strixhaven from Ravina Kai. We see a very regal soldier with a circle of nothingness and then the wings of an angel, making us feel like even a divine being lacks lasting significance. Still, in this case, the soldier seems to have resolve. My theory is that an angel is saving the soldier here, and that the soldier knows what will happen to her or him is meant to be. Also, just like with the lion, these beings might be ephemeral, but their role will be filled in. Also, look at this piece, showing us once again what incredible style we have here. These colors and again the mystery, drawing us in more. Mechanically, Ephemerate has 2 parts. I want to touch on Rebound first. Rebound is a mechanic from Rise of the Eldrazi, and perhaps a little more used by the Ojutai on Tarkir. Rebounded spells are often spells that take place over time, like a World at War from Igor Kirfluk, or a memory with a déjà vu in Surreal Memoir with art from Jamie Jones. The Jeskai can cast spells twice, because they control their spells well, and because they teach their spells to others that can later use them. So in a way this is a more controlled event. In Controlling the Rebound, an article from the design team from Rise of the Eldrazi, Wizards tells us why rebound spells can be interesting mechanically. They have to do something differently than when you would just cast the effect twice. Like with Nomad's Assembly, where you have time to make more creatures until your next upkeep and your opponent has the time to do a board wipe. For our ephemerate, the interesting mechanical part is that the first time it is an instant that can help you save a creature. The next time you can only use it for the enter or leave the battlefield abilities. In this case, a definite way of letting you prepare for the next upkeep. Then the second mechanical property of Ephemerate is flickering, which is the exiling of a creature only to have it return immediately after. Flickering is a mechanic that was first shown in Ursa's Destiny, with the card Flicker. This is a card for 1 in the white, so 1 mana more, and it was a sorcery. This card focuses on your fate and how who you are to be is set in stone. The flavor says, who is truer, you who are or you who are to be? The fairy was seen flickering in another way before, where he uses phasing. The creature would then come back on the beginning of your next turn. His spells were blue. I think that is a nod to curiosity for time travel. And curious he was, as seen in the flavor from Vanishing. Careless, like a child with fire, so was I with time. So flickering in blue seems to be more of a thing people can do. In white it is often more something that just happens to you, as seen in Flicker of Fate, especially when you pit it against Essence Flux in blue, which has a spirit phasing itself out. A spirit that is free to do so even though it is bound to its previous existence. But there are ways in which white deliberately flickers, right? Yes, for example with the infamous Restoration Angel. Although, here we are flickered by a celestial being. White's flickering is not random, it is often a play of fate, or the divine. Still for us mortals it feels random. But Charming Prince, that is deliberate, right? No, the story here is that the Charming Prince kisses the princess and then removes a curse from her, that is why he flickers her. Like in Glass Casket, which even says that fate will decide whether it's a bad or a 2. It is not like the prince knows his kiss will save her, but he does have faith. It is still a random event, or at least magical divine event. In the case of Ephemerate, we have finally figured out what is doing this. It is a spin of fate, and this lion knows that it is time to leave its kingdom. In closing, Ephemerate is a way deeper card than I expected. It teaches us that even kings and angels will not stay forever. Still, they know and have faith that they have fulfilled their roles. That is what makes them royally divine. For ourselves, this means do not worry about what happens too much. Your role is the most important. You can be a lion and still disappear, but at least you were a lion.